I want you to think about the last time something you tried completely fell apart. Maybe it was a project, a business idea, something you poured everything into, and then it sank. Hi, I'm Sarah, your storyteller. We find stories that relate to our lives in many different ways of learning. Now, for today's story, just imagine watching it actually sink right in front of you, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Because that is exactly what happened to Richard Branson in 1985. And what did he do next? That is a story about something I think every single one of us needs to hear today. Stay with me until the end, because this one has a twist that will absolutely make you cheer. It is August 1985. Richard Branson is already known as one of Britain's most colorful entrepreneurs. He has a record label, a publishing company, and a brand new airline called Virgin Atlantic. He is young, restless, and absolutely convinced of something that most people would call ridiculous. He wants to cross the Atlantic Ocean in a speedboat and break a record that has stood for 33 years. That record belongs to the SS United States, a magnificent passenger liner that crossed in 1952, 3 days, 10 hours, and 40 minutes. 3,000 miles of open ocean, averaging nearly 36 miles per hour. For 33 years, no one had come close. Branson builds a 65-foot powerboat, names her Virgin Atlantic Challenger, and sets off from New York with a crew of 6. And for 3.5 days, it works. They slice through fog, they dodge icebergs, they push through rough seas, fuel stops, and exhausted bodies. They are on track. They are going to do it. Then, just 138 miles from the finish line, so close they could almost see England, something tears through the hull. The boat takes on water. In 6 minutes, she is gone beneath the waves. The crew scrambles into life rafts in the dark Atlantic. A passing ship spots them. They are rescued, cold, defeated, and heartbroken. And as Branson is pulled onto the rescue boat, soaking wet and exhausted, someone hands him a newspaper. On the front page is a photograph of his newborn son, Sam, whom he had not even held yet. Now, here is where this story goes from sad to extraordinary. That same night, still dripping from the ocean, Branson stands up and makes what he later calls and I love this, a rash statement. He tells everyone within earshot that he will be back. Same route, new boat. I mean, the man's boat just sank, and he is already planning round 2. 11 months later, on June 26, 1986, a new boat departs New York Harbor, Virgin Atlantic Challenger 2, 72 feet long, twin engines pumping out 4,000 combined horsepower, a crew of 6 who have absolutely no business being this calm. Among them is Chai Blyth, a round-the-world sailor who has seen it all, and navigator Dag Pike, who later recalls that publicly, the team is gung-ho and fearless. Privately, I was scared stiff, he says. The Atlantic does not give up its records easily. For 3 days, Challenger 2 hammers across 3,000 miles of the North Atlantic, fog so thick they cannot see ahead. The constant threat of icebergs, heavy headwinds in the final stretch that push the crew to the edge. Nobody sleeps, nobody stops. In the final miles, Branson begins counting down on the radio. 50 yards, 40, 30, 20, 10. Then his voice crackles across the radio one more time. I am glad to say the blue riband returns to Britain. 3 days, 8 hours, and 31 minutes. 2 full hours faster than the record that had stood since 1952. And today, June 29th, marks exactly 40 years since that boat crossed the finish line. Now I have to tell you my favorite footnote to this story, because it is peak Branson. After breaking the record, he was denied the official trophy. The American Merchant Marine Museum ruled that his boat was not a commercial passenger ship. One curator reportedly called it a toy boat. So what does Branson do? He commissions his own trophy, a 3-foot silver sculpture of the Bishop Rock Lighthouse, and he opens it to any challenger who can beat his time. He turned a rejection into a new competition. Of course he did. Here is what stays with me about this story. Branson did not succeed because he was fearless. He succeeded because he was afraid, and he went anyway. His boat sank. He held on to life rafts in the dark ocean. And he came back, not because failure did not hurt, but because the dream was bigger than the fear. I wonder sometimes how many of us have a dream sitting quietly in us. Something we tried once, or almost tried, or gave up on because the first attempt went under. What would it look like to build a second boat? And that makes me think about something else entirely: the stories we carry, the attempts, the failures, the moments we came back stronger. Those stories belong to your family, your children, your grandchildren. They need to know who you really were, not the polished version, the real one, the one who got back in the boat. There is a free family story writing guide right below this video, and I want you to have it, because the stories only you can tell are the most important ones of all. Do not let them disappear. If today's story gave you a little fire, I would love to see you here every single day. History Sparks drops a brand new story for you every morning. Stories that surprise you, move you, and remind you that history is not just something that happened to other people. It happened to people exactly like you, and your story, it matters just as much. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the History Sparks family. We are so glad you are here. I am Sarah. Go build your second boat, and I will see you next time.